in for a second round here. Draskell, I'm gonna kind of lean it towards that EG series a little bit, in that it felt like the game one was kind of draft one in some ways.
Yeah.
HellRaisers made it really hard for themselves to win that game because it had to be so execution strong.
I think even by the 4th pick, they were already behind, to a point where they had to pick a hero that they felt solved an almost unsolvable problem, and just being able to deal with like the mass team fight, getting the Doom off at the perfect time, in the perfect situation, that could have won them the game, but it didn't. And again, it's difficult to play those types of games because you're just required to get the perfect Doom at the perfect time. That's how we win the fight, you know. And if we can't do that, then LFY are just going to run at us. They got 2 Roches back to back, and off that momentum, they just ran at you as 5 heroes. And we talked about the execution level that was required for that type of draft. It's just not saying that LFY aren't a skilled team. It's just that those heroes in particular do not require the highest level of play to execute. And so when you put a very good team behind those heroes, it's even harder to play against.
Yeah. Like in Batrider for HellRaisers against the Night Stalker.
Looks familiar.
Feel Shabu.
But this time around, I'm guessing the 3rd and 4th bans will be different coming in from the side of HellRaisers. I think that DP was probably their biggest problem, because that hero is the one that allows you to just be in the team fight and guarantee that you're dealing damage, and that in conjunction with the Oracle means that you're just getting all this free uptime and making sure that all the heroes on the enemy team are just like constantly taking damage, and if a Ravage goes off on top of that, there's tons of lockdowns, so you get rid of the damage portion and the Ravage doesn't seem so bad. And then you're also taking away a pretty good amount of their ability to push towers on top of that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of okay with maybe ban like Buck Death Prophet or something like that, but I'm okay with Queen of Pain and Lina and those kind of heroes being picked up if I have a Lycan. You know, just because you do have so much mobility and so much physical. You're tanky, you don't really care so much about the burst damage they're laying down. Oh, well, that's a counter pick. Jesus.
Yeah, it is. We are going to see the Death Prophet ban too, just straight up. I was kind of thinking about it more, and I was like, well, okay, I guess you could wait it out, put the Batrider in an actual offlane position this game instead of making it a support, and then you just pick something that kills the Death Prophet, similar to what we saw in the last series where Sumail was just getting wrecked mid by ganks. You know, pick something that can just kill the mid lane. But this is a different approach for game 2 here. We have been seeing a bit of a resurgence of the Bloodseeker, much to Milk's happiness, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I saw some tweets about it.
Dude, every patch he keeps telling me, Jungle Bloodseeker is really strong. Or Bloodseeker is really strong.
See, here's the problem with that sentence. You start off by saying jungle something, and you're just like, please stop. Just stop. But no, I get you.
But yes, Core Bloodseeker is actually so hard to play against. It's just, it's awful because you're sitting there, it's kind of like a combination of like Ursa and Necrophos in the way that he's able to...
Oh, don't say that. That hurts me.
Yeah, think about that concept though. It's like a hero that can constantly regen off of killing creeps. All right, fantastic. And he also is able to just kind of like trade into you constantly because he's able to regen it off of creeps and has this like extra damage ability, which is... If any of the other lanes get low for any reason, right? Maybe it's not even their own fault. Maybe they get ganked or something. An enemy hero is low, Bloodseekers just gets like all steroided up, gets all red and mean, and he's running at like 500 movement speed, and he just runs at you. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do as an offlaner? Most offlaners don't have an escape mechanism right now, so you just kind of like run back to your tower and take like 5 shots of damage.
Either that or you have to TP.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's the only ways you're really getting out of it. We are going to see the Oracle here. This time around, HellRaisers are going to take the Tidehunter for themselves. So they've more or less prevented the death ball, I guess you could say, of LFY. That being said, I guess, you know, I don't know how they run this. Did they run it mid? Did they run it safe lane? Because I've seen both. I've seen Fnatic, for example. QO loves to play that hero mid. Seen it a bunch of times. And I've also seen it safe lane. So against a hero like Bat, if we are presuming that it's going to be a 33 Bat this game and not the support once again, that matchup to me is a bit foreign. I would imagine that Bloodseeker still does okay, and that Batrider would have a very hard time diving just because Oracle is there.
Yeah, I think Tidehunter's offlane here, and they're just support Batrider, in which case I would prefer to have the Bloodseeker safe lane. I don't like mid Bloodseeker. I think you do want, like, it's far too matchup and gank oriented. You know, like you could have a fine matchup as Bloodseeker and still lose because of ganks, right? Because you are such a susceptible hero in that regard. So I think you should always have a support that enables you in the starting phase of the game. And again, kind of like Ursa, right? Like Ursa is actually a hero that you can pressure early before level 6. Like, he does a lot of damage, but if you bring extra heroes to the table, you can take him down. Same thing here. Yeah. Bloodseeker's a 1v1 expert, but more heroes come into lane, you can actually shut him down. So I think you need the support in lane to enable the Bloodseeker at first, and then eventually the natural strength of the laning phase for the Bloodseeker will allow your supports to rotate out if they want to, as his 1v1 matchup is obvious.
Yeah, so you're more of a fan of just having the bat support instead of Tide, because we have seen support Tide, not so much, but every once in a while you see it, because sometimes you're just in that situation where you go, all we really want from our support is some team fight.
Oh yeah, I asked Blitz about that, the support Tide Hunter that Planet Odd ran in the finals of Dream League.
Yeah.
And they said it's only with Furion.
Okay.
It was specifically, because if you think about it, right, Furion is the hero that takes advantage of what they did the most, right? Gush, which is a minus armor slow, and you've got a ranged physical damage dealer who also has treants, which are also going to do. So it's just kind of like you've got this combination of tanky Tide and treants running at a hero, and then a minus armor slow, which obviously the range hero is able to beat on you a bunch. So you just kind of like specifically run at them with that matchup. I don't think there's any other offlaner that really takes advantage of that, because most of them are going to be melee, right? And in which case, crossing that distance is just going to be too much.
Yeah, it makes sense. It definitely makes sense. I just was curious because the last game, the Batrider was pretty understated. Like I didn't really feel a whole lot of presence from Milan, and you know that could just be because the way the lineup functioned, and there were 3 heroes that took up a lot of the farm, and he wasn't able to really get what he wanted. And I thought maybe this time they wanted to do a little bit different, but yeah. After hearing that, it does make sense. We are going to see a Zeus last pick from the side of LFY.
And that's an Inflame Zeus?
It's an offlane Zeus.
Offlane Zeus. I don't know how but I suppose it is because the Templar Assassin matchup mid, it's better for the Bristleback to be mid than it is the Zeus. I just am unsure how will do. What's he facing? Lycan and Disruptor, most likely. Maybe Milan will be top, but most likely just those 2 heroes. So I guess it's actually fine, especially if he has Afu in lane.
I would imagine, yeah, it'll probably be okay. They probably do 2-1-2, because like you mentioned, the Bloodseeker is fairly self-sufficient. He gets like even level 3. You know, he's gonna be fine. He gets 2 points into his passive. If any of the other lanes are winning, and I think this is a big reason why you want the Zeus. A lot of people think it's, oh yeah, because you buff the Zeus and he does tons of damage. No. It's because you zap so much in lane that your Bloodseeker gets a crap ton of damage and he just dominates the laning phase.
I would not want to be 33 here.
You're just gonna zap you. Yeah. Like, even if you don't win the lane, if you're harassing, you're constantly getting damage out. That's what Bloodseeker wants. He wants to be in that position where 3 heroes are sitting at, 60% life. That's his dream.
That's why Bloodseeker is one of the most cancerous pub heroes.
Oh, it's so
because
annoying.
You know your pubs don't care.
Your offlaner's just sitting down there cap, and he's got 20% health, and he is just sitting under that tower going, I'm safe. This is fine. Not a big deal.
You're sitting there, all caps. Use your tango. Use your tango. You can't be low HP.
He's got a healing salve. You're just not using it, man.
Yeah, it's that's because I feel like people actually don't look at the lanes a lot. They just look at what they're matched up against.
Right.
And that's all they think about. But yeah, we are setting up here for a 2-1-2 situation. How do you think this matches up? Do you think LFY win the laning phase? If this stays this 2-1-2 scenario on both sides?
I would imagine they win at least one lane. Like, they kind of have to because of the Bloodseeker. So his lane will probably win. The Bristleback is interesting because I don't really think that hero loses many lanes, but he doesn't really crush it either.
No.
You know, he kind of just exists, and he gets some farm. He's kind of like the melee Zeus. He gets farm.
Yeah.
And the other hero typically farms against him.
And I think they'll win bottom. I mean, if you think about it, right, Disruptor's just not a hero that can deal with aggro dual lanes. So, and Lycan doesn't provide any damage himself. So they're just gonna kind of get, you know.
If they
spammed a lot.
trade too much, I think it would actually go really bad for HellRaisers. Because you're gonna end up buffing Monet, and he's gonna crush it.
I see this a lot. These Zeus's get Lightning Bolt level 1. Look for early with their first clarity.
I mean, if you think about it, for the mana cost, they're roughly the same at level 1.
Are.
I mean, sure, the arc has a much shorter cooldown, but the utility of the bolt is better.
If
you're not trying to shove the wave, basically, you get Lightning Bolt.
Yeah. And considering the fact that ward is right where the creep is going to be, doesn't get the Lightning Bolt on the range creep, which is what he really wanted there. That's another one of the downsides, right? Lightning Bolt is less range.
Yeah.
Than Arc.
It's less range than Arc Lightning for creeps, because you can't ground target creeps, but you can ground target heroes.
Afu's going to pull for the Zeus, though. It's going to take a lot of damage in the process, thanks to Strike, but he's going to pull them all the way to mid? I thought he was just going to kind of let him reset and run back, but...
bonus creeps. I'm sure Super is fine with this.
So Ice Frog went and put extra creeps in the mid lane already, and now we have supports dragging even more creeps into the mid lane.
Oh, this is what you want, Cat. You want like 3 waves of melee creeps at 1 minute in.
Is that the new meta, Draskell? We're gonna have a support on both sides go drag a creep wave into mid.
Dude, if you have a hero like Bristleback, he can kill all these creeps. He's got a mango. He's got a full bottle.
Yeah. He's gonna have a pretty big wave coming in.
I mean, he's gonna take a little bit of damage for it, but whatever. He doesn't care.
It's no problem.
As long
His
as
tower's not gonna take the damage.
He doesn't need. If he doesn't eat like 8 side blades, he's fine. Yeah, there we go. Back to normal. And now he's got an experience advantage, winning his lane. Afu literally winning his lane.
Well played. Man, I saw that, I was like, oh, that's nice. He's gonna pull a wave over to Inflame, help out his bro, get him to level 2.
Oh god, no.
No. Screw you, offlane.
Yeah, that was actually pretty funny. You don't see that kind of stuff very often, but...
Monet's Bloodseeker is now 33 is going to have to get a bit creative if he wants to find any farm in this lane against a Bloodseeker. Tidehunter does okay with Bloodseeker, obviously. He does have Anchor Smash, but doesn't change the fact that Bloodseeker, if there are some heroes low, take a big advantage of it. So he's going to pull creep waves over the side, farm them up by himself, but he pulls it into the neutral camp, and then he can kind of farm both. The efficiency, Draskell, the efficiency.
Yeah, this is what you want to see. This is the ideal case for most offlanes. If you can do something like this, as long as you get the last hits. If you miss the neutrals or whatever, it kind of sucks, but... Because you're essentially getting neutrals and lane at the same time. It's the best of both worlds. Is he actually going to die here, though?
Yeah, DDC's not being a very nice man to him, but he's not feeling comfortable. I guess he doesn't have the mana.
He has to know he's out of regen, though. He's got a Fairy Fire, but that's it. Okay, now he's in trouble.
Low down by the sticky napalm. Bloodseeker's gonna come in. He does have a silence, and that will force 33 back. And he also can put sticky napalm. They gonna chase Milan, knowing that Milan could actually go for that one. Bottom lane, they actually trade 1-for-1 there. The Zeus manages to actually die. J4, it's back up to top lane. All right, Monet.
He's alright.
Down, gets off the silence. Doesn't actually hit it on 33, so won't be able to go for that kill. Now he's stuck behind enemy lines, so with the TB coming in for the Bat Rider as well, he's going to be able to get the sticky napalm. And Templar Assassin, you want this? You want in on this? No? Alright.
He's too fast, man. He's got the Tidehunter vision.
Too quick for you.
Yeah, he's got the super thirst. Because, not Inflame, 33 is like really low on health. Yeah. That's Bloodseeker. Think you're gonna kill him because he dives between a tier 1 and a tier 2 at 3 minutes and 2 people TP and he still gets away.
Rough times. So bottom lane, what was it? Zeus died to the Disruptor for first blood, but they did get the turnaround. Nightstalker Disruptor.
Yeah.
Stalker. Oh, level 2. This bottom lane really isn't going super well in experience so far. Neither one of them are level by 4 minutes. It's kind of the sweet spot for Night Stalkers. I think as a support, you're aiming to get level 3s by 4 minutes. You can have that level 2 Void or the 1-1-1 build, depending on... But he doesn't have that, so he's not really getting that big peak of roaming.
Yeah, Void's mana cost per damage scaling is really good. Like, you just want those extra points so badly.
An extra 10 mana for an extra 80 damage. That sounds worth it.
Yeah, it's crazy strong. Just imagine this hero used to be better. His passive used to cost 30 less mana. His Void used to cost, I think, a little bit less mana as well.
Kaiser's being run down pretty heavily here. He doesn't have a refraction up for another 5 seconds, but it's not enough. Kaiser will certainly have it, so it looks like Super's just tanked a lot of extra damage. But again, any damage on the actual hero of the Templar Assassin is a big win. Bloodseeker. Phew.
Yeah, no one's... They don't want to be in that lane anymore. They're like, nope. Too many heroes on the map that don't have HP. Giving Monet too much bonus damage. Just not going to go up. Even as a Tide Hunter, where normally those melee heroes, you can kind of just bully with Anchor Smash and Kraken. Bloodseeker just hits too hard. And the harass that you're doing is going to be undone on like the next creep wave anyway, because of Blood Rage.
Comes back from J4, sends off. Still run around. Hopefully, this bounty rune will be enough for him to get level 3, but he's going to prioritize the main rune. If it spawns. Spawn, it's actually up at top lane. That'll be aced for Super. That's a great pick.
The rune control is pretty important here because, you know, Kaiser, he doesn't have a bottle even, so he's relying completely on shrines and also, I guess, stick charges to keep himself up and running in the mid lane. So if they're able to control the runes all the time, the TA is going to feel a lot of pressure. Oh,
pushback, but Afu does have the fly down. So
of all the heroes,
he'll get away. I feel like Milan's tried that before against Knight.
You know how hard that is to do? Like get a flame break to knock somebody on a cliff? That's not easy.
That's 33 is good. Should have been a kill on 33, nice and easy, but nice timing for Swift ending TP and actually turns things around entirely.
It was a bit strange. We are going to see a chase continue here. Fighting into the shrine.
He's okay, but Super stacking up those quills. The next quill probably kill him. Another right click. And no, it's not enough, but another quill comes out. And these heroes just can't fight the Bristleback.
Oh my god, he's doing so much damage.
Oh god, he can actually chase down these heroes, can he? He can kill at least one of them. He's going to go for Swift Ending. He has a little bit more HP, though. And the Sticky Napalm slowing him down. Gets off the Howl. That's a little bit more. Super's fully committed. He gets one more quill. Can he finish off Swift Ending? Or maybe he's out of range? No, the trap! It slowed him down just enough. Swift Ending gets out of the way. I'm going to call that on the Ice Frog nerf.
Debated.
The Bristleback quills not being instant might have just cost him that kill.
Yeah, but they increase the range.
That's
so like they hit from farther away, but they're not instantaneous.
So it's worse against faster heroes.
Yeah.
But better against slower heroes, maybe.
I guess, but or you know, if you get trapped and you can't actually catch the hero because you're just super slow. He had like 5 stacks of goo on him, I think, or 6 even. That was just super. I think he recognized that he was gonna die at some point. So he's just like, all right, man, I'm just going to go for it, see what happens. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. But
I was kind of feeling for him just to chase down Milan.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the guaranteed kill, but he went for the more valuable Swift Ending kill, which would have been huge. But unfortunately, the combination of Howl and Feral Impulse and Wand Charges.
That's also one of those points in the game where you kind of question, should I just get a value point in goo? Just 1 point? Because yeah, the ability at level 1 doesn't seem all that impressive, but it's a base 20% slow, just by 1 stack, and that's a really big deal.
Yeah, I think you always kind of consider it if you're Bristleback at level 8. Like, do I really need my maxed out passive yet? Afu TP's away, nice play. It's kinetic field attempt, but good enough to get the kill. Looking at our net worth, we've got a Templar Assassin sitting at 5k, very ahead of everyone else. That's the magic of Templar Assassin, though. They're able to farm off of Ancients to get pretty far ahead of the opposing mid. Super is tried and failed to be super aggressive and go for kills.
Middle lane, Milan taking a little bit of damage here. Just trying to just harassing, you know, getting people low. Giving Monet that bonus damage. Got plus 40 something right now with the phase boots, but I think one thing that we need to keep in mind is that when you have fights like top, where they're going for a dive and the Lycan TPs, you have Oracle on your team, which you wouldn't normally think is really much of a Lycan counter, but a 4.5 second disarm to Lycan is massive.
Yeah.
Like that ability, Fate's Edict, can crush him. Plus you have the root, so until BKB comes out, which Swift Ending is going for the Necro Rush this game. He's not going for the Mask of Madness or the Armlet or anything like that. He's just getting the, I'm going to have my minions build.
What's the difference in this game for you that changes that?
I think that, honestly, this would have been a better game for Armlet Mask of Madness, in my opinion. Because I think that there's less hard disable for you to worry about. But maybe he feels like he's just going to get ruptured every play.
Kaiser's in trouble. Silence. They do have plenty of nukes to throw down on top of him, like the Zeus Lightning Bolts, but 33 is standing so far in front that LFY can't actually commit getting that kill on Kaiser.
Yeah, nice defense there from HellRaisers, just sending people over there, forcing LFY back. But in regards to the Necro choice, it's a really strong item against teams that accidentally kill Necrobook. So, you know, for example, Sven in the last game, he'd be one of those heroes that might accidentally kill a Necro every now and then. But in this game in particular, I think it's just maybe him feeling like, okay, if I pop my ulti and I chase you down with these, you're just dead. But I feel like Armlet Mask of Madness accomplishes that same goal against these particular heroes. Again, no real hard stuff.
Do you think the Necronomicon build is better for shoot?
Outside of Ultimate, yes.
Yeah. Maybe that's his idea because they have a tide. Monet is going to be caught in the kinetic field, throws down the rupture, but Swift Ending doesn't have to run anywhere. That's the beauty of kinetic fields. Our enemy is trapped inside of a little mini electronic Thunderdome, and they're not leaving. At 5-3, 12 minutes in, a 2K gold lead for HellRaisers. Then again, we said that before in our last game, and it ended up being an LFY win. See if this different draft will change fate for them. HellRaisers sitting on the side here, letting Swift Ending game gone on, setting up for that good rupture opportunity for the backline. They don't really want to go on super, but they kind of have to now. Swift Ending's just getting a bit too low. The Zul's ultimate goes down, but it's not enough to finish on Swift Ending. Now they throw down the Ravage. Hits on 4, that's beautiful, but DDC gets off his ultimate first, and Monet, he's big, he's bad, and he's bloody as hell as he goes straight for Kaiser. Refraction pauses things a little bit, but not going to be able to find any kills for it. 5-6. Whoa, okay. Fu gets the extra kill. That's 4 down from HellRaisers for nothing on the side of LFY, despite a 4-man Ravage. LFY strike back big time, now 5-7.
That was the ideal engagement for LFY. They walk into you, they start attacking your Bristleback of all heroes. That's already great, but the biggest problem with that kind of engagement is we've seen in the past the Bloodseeker Bristleback combo. You Blood Rage the Bristleback, he does like just stupid amounts of damage. And when he gets kills, he heals for a ton. And on top of that, the Bloodseeker's getting more damage because everyone's getting quilled because they're all attacking the Bristleback. And then a Zeus ult comes out, and then Monet's at like 550 movement speed, and he hits for 300 damage. Yeah. And you go, oh right, we've lost the team fight because we focused the Bristleback.
Ah, that's right. We hit Bristleback, one of those fundamental ideas of Dota. Don't hit the bristle.
Yeah, but I mean, it's easier said than done, obviously.
Yeah. A large part of that was DDC's positioning, right? He sat super far back. I think they wanted to draw DDC in. You know, like, oh, he's going to trail the Bristleback, or we're going to get this Ravage off, kill DDC. It was super cool. Not even. 33. He does have a TP, but he doesn't need to use it, apparently. He's got the backup of Swift Ending and Milan. And it's actually our Bloodseeker at a TP out, but he does so successfully.
Now, this could be a little bit problematic for HellRaisers if they're not able to kind of transition this TA start into some objectives soon. Because the Bloodseeker is going to start making his way towards a Shadow Blade. He might eventually go back for Eggs. I think it's amazing this game because you can rupture the TA and the Lycan. It's essentially like being doomed. But it's almost worse than being doomed because you just literally can't even auto. You just have to stand still.
LFY, they had Inflame use his ultimate there. Gets vision on HellRaisers. Oh, that top tower is being pushed. They see the heroes behind it, so they just kind of go for some damage onto the mid lane tier 1. Not enough to kill it though, and HellRaisers are in position to defend now, especially with that Desolator on the Templar Assassin. Big damage upgrade that is very tough for LFY to fight in.
I mean, he almost got 2 kills when they were fighting in the top lane on that little side area when they were all attacking the Bristle. I think 1 or 2 more auto attacks with side blades would have killed 2. But yeah, once it gets blink, you know, maybe he goes for a Roshan sneak, maybe he does it with a steam, maybe he just kills DDC. All right, he got the disarm.
Nice. Would have been a little awkward. You go for that play and he gets the meld off first.
Yeah, because he would have been out of sentry range.
Yeah.
He would have been able to just blow him up in like 1 hit. Oracle is not a very tanky here.
Swift ending, turns and fights Monet. Chase me away. Not scared at all, nor should he be with Necronomicon 1 already up, plus his level 10, which gives him plus 200 health. Very large upgrade. He's gonna just go for the TP out here. In Flame, not close enough. Looks like Monet may have jump-started that one a bit too early.
I think there's 2 different kind of ideologies in playing Bloodseeker. One is I always want to get the kill, and 2 is if I'm forcing you to TP back to base every time you show in lane, you're never hitting creeps. Like, you're just not farming.
Yeah.
That's the way that QO plays it. Every time I watch that guy play Bloodseeker, he doesn't care if he gets a kill. It could be a hero that he has 0% chance of killing. He's rupturing that hero. And then he goes, oh, well, now I have to just TP. It's annoying.
And the automatic response from being ruptured is TP back to base, right?
Exactly.
Instead
a lot of people...
TPing to the Shrine or Tier 1.
Okay, super. You're ham.
Kaiser is burnt out here, right? With Super diving into the Tier 2, he's going to be glimpsed back a very small distance. It's like, all right, force a response, that's good enough. We're going to take this Tier 1, no problem. Super is just, I think that's the thing about Super as a mid laner. He's great at using these very tanky heroes, like in this case Bristleback, but classically Dragon Knight, and drawing the attention of the enemy team away from his allies.
Yeah, he understands very well his role when he's playing these types of frontline heroes. It's really enjoyable to watch. Like they had to commit nothing to that, and like you mentioned, they also forced TPs, so it's no loss. Even though you have to bring, you know, a couple of heroes, if you get the Tier 1 in the mid lane, it's more than worth it. And HellRaisers are still feeling a little bit hesitant to go for a fight, more just effective farming around the map. It looks like 33 is making his way towards the pipe. He's going to be a great item against the Zeus especially. But other than that, there's not really a ton of magic damage. It's pretty much just the Zeus. I mean, sure, you got Void, you got the Purifying Flames and Fortune's End, but I don't look at Night Stalker and Oracle and say, oh my god, we need a pipe because of these heroes. He could just stop at the Casual Hood, though, and then go back for the mech. It's a greedier choice because it increases your own effective health maybe a tiny bit more than just getting the mech. But in regards to the 5-man, I think that you typically would just want the mech.
Later on, it'll be pretty helpful when he gets the completed Guardian Greaves as well. The big armor upgrade for your team against the physical damage of Bristleback.
That's the one thing that I'm kind of curious is, how do they deal with the Bristle?
Well, Bristle's already itemized very well against the Lycan and the Templar Assassin. He went for Solar Crest, and now he's going for Heaven's Halberd. So he's going to have evasion on evasion and disarm. So they can't even, you know, get a disable and quickly blow him up while they're facing his...
They're going to find Super. This is not who you want to go on.
Certainly not, especially not with DDC hovering just around the corner. Ready to go with smoke up their own, a 4-man smoke while they're leaving Super visible.
Milan's in such a good spot, though.
Dagger. And the vision here, he sees that smoke pops. Oh no, but Zeus gets off the ultimate first. Nice reaction to the smoke popping like that. Part of it was the fact that we had the Shadow Blade on Monet. His smoke popped, but he was actually invis from the Shadow Blade, so the Bat Rider didn't see.
Right.
They're going to go straight into the Roshan pit with
This should be pretty easy for them. They have the goo, they have the Solar Crest on top of it. And Super is going to hit his level 15 too, so he'll get his health talent. I very rarely see people take the key stacks. I think that's one of those things that you do when the team fight's going to be long and you're really like Agonies or something like that.
33 starts positioning himself to force him back, making out a Ravage. Just keep them on their toes now. Swift ending is going to use ult. So LFY know there's heavy commitment coming out from HellRaisers, which is why, oh, Templar Assassin jumps forward. He managed to find Afu, or J4 did rather. And now they're going to move forward. They see Inflame. Ultimate going to be used by DDC, but that means Milan open to be able to get off the lasso. Of course, it's canceled by the glimpse, but either way, it's a win for LFY, or at least looking like it. Maybe not. HellRaisers actually running over these heroes.
They still have Ravage.
They still have it. 33's just sitting on the front lines. because the Templar Assassin, boom, killed the Night Stalker. Then they managed to force the ultimate out. 33. He's okay. Blood's back, and they aren't going to be able to take Roshan. The Age is going to be picked up. They can turn and fight if they really want to, but they're a little low on mana, especially Kaiser here, sitting inside the pit, and Zuper is just going to go and man fight up against Swift Ending, who tried to go for the TP out, but no. Physical damage is way too much for him to handle. Monet is going to be able to run down another one. The Batrider got caught. Kaiser gets spotted. The Zeus ultimate reveals him for a moment, and Super starts running him down, but a blink is up. They will manage to get themselves away. So great start by HellRaisers in that team fight. Templar Assassin finding the quick pickoff, not having to use the Ravage. They managed to get the Aegis, but in the end, it still cost them a little bit on the second round of lives. Swift Ending going down in worst part for HellRaisers.
It was a bit of a chaotic fight just because the first person to die was pretty much a Night Stalker. Like, Afu was just kind of chilling mid, ends up getting caught out a little bit, tries to run away. You know, he ends up falling. But the biggest thing is HellRaisers didn't hit the Bristleback. So they won the fight. They just walked over and they killed pretty much every single other person. They just completely ignored Super. And unfortunately for him, the only target that he could go on was the TA. That's not really what you want as Bristle, because you're fighting into Refraction and you're not killing it fast enough. Afu, going for the TP. Gets out. Flame Break nerf, thank you, Ice Frog.
It's also really bad for the Bloodseeker, right? All that damage is going to Refraction stacks. That's not giving you any extra... what is it? Bloodthirst? Yeah, thirst. There's no thirst to be found from that.
It was a completely ideal engagement, even though they did end up losing their Lycan towards the end of it. But I think that's fine. If you're able to get the primary objective, you know, your TA is really close to BKB. He's already got Blink Death, so it's only 22 minutes in. He's insanely farmed.
Yeah, Kaiser's just going to be able to go in. Oh, they spotted Afu, but they have to actually get vision on him a second time. Fortunately, that's what Milan is for with his flying vision. He'll blink over, reveal that hero, and LFY, who started moving over to try and help their ally, almost gets caught. Super is the one paying the gush at DDC.
Well, they got the pipe finished on the Tidehunter, so he did actually end up going for the whole shebang. I guess maybe now that the Zeus is... You know, Inflame's level 13. He's actually not super low level. He's got Veil. He's even got an Arcane Rune.
I think it's kind of similar to the Fraction as well, like the shell and how it reacts against the damage. Nobody gets low. Nobody's taking damage, so again, you're just lacking thirst stacks on them.
Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. I like that. I just always see an item, and I usually think when you're talking about like auras, efficiency, how much efficiency do you get? Swift Ending going to be forced to TP. Gets cancelled though. See you later.
Afu in position. Great setup there from LFY. They're actually not going to lose anything in return. They send the Bristle back to bottom lane. Kaiser, I'm waiting for him to try and use this Aegis in aggressive fashion. Maybe take some objectives or something, because currently it's LFY kind of running the pickoff show here.
They're not really giving him much opportunity to group up and do what they want. Kaiser may be going a little bit too ham there.
Do you think LFY fights for this tier 1? If they do manage to get a position where their HellRaisers are 5-manning forward with this Aegis, do they still contest that tier 1?
That is a good question. I feel like they're strong enough to do it. It's just difficult against Aegis. That's the only real issue. If they have the fresh BKB up, yeah, it's a 10-second BKB on the Bloodseeker. I think that in of itself might be the go point, because if that Bloodseeker BKBs, Monet goes in, he's killing the Disruptor. Like 100% that hero is going to die. He ruptures either the Lycan or the TA. Probably the Lycan, I guess, since he's not the Aegis carrier. And yeah, I could see them definitely taking that. Power advantage might be enough to skew the fight in their favor.
Yeah, I was just kind of focused on the Templar Assassin, thinking what a killer she is with this BKB, the fresh BKB she picked up, but Monet having one as well. That's going to be a big one, as, like, pointed out.
Oh my.
Straight for the Disruptor, he gets torn apart. They look for more. I love that Afu's using that flying vision to be able to find another hero. They do catch 33. Now he has the Ravage, does manage to get out away from the Silence, also has the Pipe to be able to work with. So Zeus isn't going to be able to just burst him down right away. He's fighting around Kaiser as well. So if they commit to this one, Kaiser's going to be able to get a lot of time for right-click damage. That's why they just send Super forward. If Super can somehow force the Ravage by himself, the rest of the team is sitting outside of that, and it's a huge win. Swift Ending, hello! You're playing against a Night Stalker, my friend. You cannot play on the sides of the map like that, just expecting you're not going to get found, especially if you haven't counter-warded that area, which they have not.
Yeah, they actually refreshed that ward too. It was the same ward that had been down for like the last 6 or so 7 minutes. Just kind of sitting up there for too long. I'm surprised it took LFY that long to realize, to be honest. Maybe they just didn't care.
Alright, Super Scott Halberd, and he's now working towards Salt Cure.
I mean, he is going for just a straight up anti-minus armor build. Like having 2 forms of evasion, forcing the Templar Assassin to go straight for the MKB. Like a lot of the time when you're playing this hero, you kind of want Bloodthorn or you want, your Hurricane Pike, something that gives you a bit more utility.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily feel good to have to buy MKB just because of that one thing. I mean, I guess there's the Night Stalker Silence as well, 50% miss, on top of the evasion that Super has. So it's mandatory. Like if you don't buy MKB, you have to buy a Bloodthorn.
Afu doing? He's going for a similar build here. Drums, innate tankiness. We're seeing a lot more supports drums right now. Now going Halberd.
The mana regen is just, it doesn't seem like a lot, but 3 mana regen versus what he would have without it, which is like what, 1 point something. It makes a big difference.
It's just an easy item to build up into.
Yep.
Bracer, Sobi Mask,
Windlace.
Nice
items. Very cheap inventory. I guess for the cost they're efficient, but they can clog your inventory if you have too much of that kind of stuff.
Again, it comes down to the Bracer thing, man.
That's what balances those types of items, is how many inventory slots they take up.
So, at this point, how are you looking at the game? HellRaisers just waiting for the next round of Roshan and MKB, and then they start forcing it, or is the onus on LFY? Do they need to... Because they kind of do game-focused heroes, right? Bloodseeker, Bristleback, Zeus. They're going to start falling off in comparison to Templar Assassin and Lycan, right?
I would assume so as well. The one thing about Bloodseeker is, I think he in particular is just always really good against cores, no matter how farmed they are, because of his ability to make them immobile. Like just by casting Rupture on TA, cast Rupture on the shapeshifted Lycan. It doesn't matter how many items you have. I mean, you can buy 2 Blade Mails and walk around in circles, hope you kill him. I've seen it before, but that's not really that's not how you want to play. That's not optimal, right? You want to be able to get 6 slotted and feel like you're this scary late game hero, but until there are like Lincolns out on the field and Lotus Orbs and stuff, he's still going to have free reign. He's going to cast Rupture on one of the heroes. He has Silver Edge now for the Tide. If he wants to go back, I guess he's going to choose to go for the Manta, but I think this is a fantastic Aghanims game.
I agree. I was just about to ask you about Aghanim Scepter, because it seems really good. Lycan, Bat Rider, even Tide in some cases, Templar Assassin, all those. Limiting their mobility is huge. TP out from Inflame, going God.
Kaiser's kind of sticking around. Okay, there we go. Is he going to run right back into him?
Zeus sees him, but he had a refraction, so that damage will not stop the blink. Oh,
that was so close. I think he was like animation for the Void when the TP finished. Yeah. A little bit unfortunate, but they do force the TP back to base, and now they know that there's only 4 heroes top. So they're just going to TP right in.
Catch 33 and pop the BKB to stop that glimpse. Meanwhile, Milan actually goes in for DDC. That is a turnaround. Swift Ending is going to go for that kill, but DDC gets off the ultimate first, so Swift Ending is going to have to go for Inflame instead, but Eul Scepter kind of buys a little bit of time there, and they don't really catch anybody from HellRaisers inside that kinetic field. So instead, it's going to be HellRaisers all TPing out. Fortunately, all their important cores will get away. So that could have been a whole lot worse, considering the situation that looks so good for LFY.
Only losing the Disruptor is a godsend. Like, using the glimpse like that, I think it's habit for a lot of Disruptor players. See the TP like, oh yeah, you're going back, see ya.
Yeah.
And then you forget, like, for just a second that he has a BKB, and you're like, oh, crap. Then your life is over because you're a Disruptor and there's a BKB Bloodseeker on the other team. But the biggest problem is that this is going to result in a Roshan being taken from LFY. Ease and Aegis.
Right, Afu on the front line, serving as a barrier to make HellRaisers. They can't actually contest the Roshan. They do manage to get Rupture with Benny. It's back underneath the tier 2. Pretty healthy too. The rest of HellRaisers kind of fighting things out, but Kaiser getting pushed over the trees. A bad position for him to be in. Afu's just trying to stop the blink for as long as possible, and it looks like he's successful. This blink is just not going to go off anytime soon, so LFI are operating this fight without the big damage dealer, and finally he gets in. Blows up the Oracle, gets EDC, now turns Monet, but Monet's actually going to be able to kill the Tiger and run away first. Now Swift ending. Doesn't have transformation. He's got it up in 1 second time, but I don't think that's going to be fast enough. Super's just beating him down. Kaiser turns around and manages to get Hafu at least, but he can't deal with the cores. Milan tries to slow him down. Yule Scepter and a thirsted up Zeus. Not able to get it though. That was Milan's own Yule Scepter that allowed him to be able to blink away immediately. Super's actually got to be kind of careful. I guess he's got that Aegis. He can use it to just bully HellRaisers away, but it seems like LFY aren't comfortable taking that tier 2. Just not enough of an advantage after that team fight, it looks like.
It took a lot of damage in the time that it took to take out Swift Ending. Because Kaiser, his burst damage is just nuts. You know, he's got the Deso, he's got the MKB and the Blink, so he got in. He killed DDC in like 1 second. I don't even think he got his Ghost Scepter off. I think he just exploded. So that in and of itself is kind of a bummer for LFY. But this time around, they're going to group up again. They have everything at their disposal, besides the Zeus ulti, I guess, which will be up in about 3. And they know Ravage is down, so could be a pretty easy tier 2.
Yeah, it's looking out like it. HellRaisers are just kind of pushing out towards bottom. Batrider's moving forward with Gem. He's just looking for vision. But LFY, we just keep going, right? Force it, especially since you do have that Aegis.
Dude, that Bristleback is so tanky.
God damn, look at that.
Oh
with
my.
the Blood Rage, jeez, it's all right, with the Blood Rage. Blood Rage goes both ways, right? With the Blood Rage, his damage looks really good, but it also takes a lot of damage.
So Sideblades doesn't care about Bristleback, is basically the key here, because it's pure damage.
Yeah.
So you're going to get blasted if you're getting hit like that.
DDC. Dead.
Yes, he is. 2 hits.
A little 2-shot there, no problem.
This TA is starting to get to a point where even though LFY are looking at a net worth lead, and even though they have the Aegis on the Bristleback, the TA is becoming, with their heroes, if he gets in with the BKB, you can't kill him. And he's going back for the Butterfly as well. I think his itemization is flawless to this game. I would not replace any of his items for any reason. I guess maybe if you were a little bit more wealthy, you'd probably opt for the Bloodthorn, just because it gives you it's more damage and it gives you regen too. But he needed to buy MKB because he was strapped for money. It's just ever since he got the MKB that he's been able to accrue such a large amount of net worth so fast.
All of HellRaisers are playing around him.
Yeah, he is crushing it this game. That poor Lycan, man. Every team, yeah, every team fight, Swift Ending's either getting ruptured or he's getting hit in the face by a Bristleback. That is like, that is not the dream.
This is the carry style Bristleback too, because he's got the Assault Cuirass. He's actually going for a BKB next. His talents are all for, you know, actually beating down heroes. He went for the 8 strength as well as the 50 attack speed. It's been a while since anybody's gone Spell Lifesteal on Bristleback.
Yeah, it used to be what, the Spell Lifesteal Octarine?
Yeah.
And people would just kind of walk around and spam quills and just be invincible.
And then people realize that's cool and all, but, you know, it may not be a fun, cool mechanic, but just beating people in the face is better.
Oh, yeah. Nothing wrong with just being in the front line and getting your flail in there, I guess is what you would call that. It's more like a rock on a rope, but it is technically a flail.
Rock on a rope.
This is a really strong timing for LFY. They just need to be very cognizant of how strong that Kaiser is right now. Yeah. And if they mess up, you know, he's gonna eat some heroes alive.
You know what they really need is Inflame's ultimate. Because if you're looking at, you actually don't have amazing attack speed on any of the heroes of HellRaisers. Maybe Lycan when he pops his ultimate and can run in and kill that Nimbus Cloud pretty quickly, but Templar Assassin's kind of known for not having the greatest attack speed, especially since Butterfly just yet. So that Nimbus is actually going to survive kind of okay in a lot of these team fights. And it also gives you great split pushing potential.
Yeah, that is one thing. You know, personally, I've never been a gigantic fan of that item. But with the whole lightning bolt build where you get the mini stun and stuff, I was kind of seeing where people were going with it, and it makes sense. But the split pushing thing is something that I never really considered. I thought of it more of like an anti-tinker mechanism and stuff like that. You know, you get vision, you find a hero, you catch him. But yeah, the split pushing is great. It's only a 35 seconds cooldown.
Every creep wave.
Yeah.
Got him. Kaiser has enough gold to finish up his butterfly, but obviously he's thinking about keeping his buyback intact. DDC, what you doing there, buddy? Got a wolf on you. Pops the Ghost Scepter. Oh, Yule Scepter actually catches the Night Stalker as he tries to TP away. They don't go for DDC, but they may still get Apu instead. Fnatic field. Static Storm just to make sure.
He's almost got, oh man, there's a DD. Oh my.
That's a game-winning route right there. Holy cow.
It would be a little bit more game-winning if Roshan was up, but then
that'd just be unfair.
That would be a little bit unfair. I haven't seen that many games where, you know, a double damage spawns at the Rosh pit, but when it does happen and Roshan's up, you got to feel for the other team. You're just like, that is a stroke of bad luck. This time around, it looks like LFY is only going to be getting a bit of damage on their tier 2. They potentially lose it here. I don't think they actually want to fight this at all, especially considering the butterfly is now completed on Kaiser. He is super strong.
Good play by Inflame, throwing out that lightning bolt. I think the static may have actually stopped. Blink dagger. Of course, he's got to be a little bit careful with initiation.
Static doesn't cancel blink anymore.
Oh, it doesn't?
Yeah, right. It hasn't canceled blink for ages,
yeah,
actually.
That's right.
Because that was just stupid.
That
1200 range.
Annoying.
Yeah, good luck playing any blink hero against Zeus, guys. It's really fun. Now you have to actually ult if you want to stop blinks, unless you know you can physically see the hero.
Requires actual thinking on the Zeus.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I love heroes that don't think. Dude, every once in a while you just kind of want to play a hero and take your brain out.
You just kind of want to play Spirit Breaker.
Oh god, that's the best. It really is. You can't really go wrong with just chain charging mid. It's like, hey guys, there's 4 heroes here now.
Put on a little brain dead music, pump up the Limp Bizkit, just run it, fools.
I like that. Smoke slash invis here.
Wait, can somebody do that for me? Can someone create a montage of Spirit Breaker? You know, like, you get those montage videos.
You just have like
Spirit Breaker charging people, just like running into them. Nothing special, right? He just charges somebody and hits them to bodies hit the floor.
Oh god. I wasn't gonna go that far. I just want like some Fred Durst every now and then, just like randomly cut to old Limp Bizkit videos. Come on, we were all teenagers once.
Milan, caught by the rupture, drops the gem. That is no good, especially since you're versus a Night Stalker. He may not have the Aghanim Scepter, but he will take full advantage. And I love the fact that with the Hunter and the Knight now giving you the Flying Fish, Aghanim Scepter just doesn't really feel that necessary.
Yeah,
just fly around sometimes.
That's like the biggest reason why I think people just stop buying it, is because, oh hey, I can just fly around. Most of the ward spots you can see without having high ground vision. There's only like a handful of them on either side of the map where you really need a flying vision.
Kaiser comes forward, immediately gets disarmed. That will be enough time for Super to almost beat down that tier 3 and lose forces out the cliff. And cha-cha-ching, Super takes it, and they all run away. Inflame kind of came forward a little bit too much, though. It seemed like he wasn't on the same game plan. He's going to be caught as a result. And the glimpse, DDC's forced to throw out that false promise, but Inflame really doesn't get a whole lot of damage to lay out the damage. And Kaiser, he pops his BKB, now turns, looks to Swift ending with a rupture on him. Actually has to run himself away. Monet with the BKB, barely gets outside the kinetic field, turns, faces, and looks to kill Milan. Will manage to get it too. Healing full up now, and HellRaisers on the back ropes have to play against their shrines. They have the Ravage ready to go, but 33 just didn't see a good opportunity to throw it down with the BKBs being used by LFY. Now they don't have them, though, and they have the glimpse to be able to catch the extra heroes. Avu's going to be the first one down. Milan trying to catch more, actually gets turned around on, but maybe that's enough time. 33, let's go that Ravage. The Yule Scepter actually guards Inflame. Bolts from Swift ending as well. The Ravage, he eventually goes down, but it costs enough time for the Titan to go down. Swift ending, turned around on, ends up getting blown up, and it's all up to Kaiser now to win this team fight for HellRaisers against 3 different heroes. He blinks away just ahead of DDC's Snare, and now the 2 cores look to take that range racks. Kaiser actually gets caught by the Silver Edge. Monet forces him back while the range racks drops, and LFY make a pretty damn good team fight out of that one. Taking the full mid lane of Rax. Doesn't look like they're really gonna get... Oh, J4 has glimpse too. It's coming up. They've got BKB and they've got Super here. As long as he's leading the charge, there's no way the two of these can find a pickoff.
So that whole team fight, I'm just watching Kaiser, and as soon as he gets disarmed, and then he BKBs, but it was a halberd disarm. So he's not able to hit anything for like 3.5 seconds after the BKB. Then his BKB wears off. Then he gets Fate's Edict. Then he gets halberded again. Then he gets Fate's Edict again. And I'm just like, this poor guy can't hit anybody. He can't deal any damage.
Somebody's got to hook him up with the Lotus Orb.
I mean, he's just dead now. He doesn't have a TP.
Rupture, no refraction for 5 seconds. They have no saves. Milan can't do anything. Neither can the Disruptor. Now that it looks like they just might all die. Milan goes ahead and lassos one, but it just delays the inevitable death. And LFY in position. They went from not having that mid lane of Rax just yet, pushing in, win a team fight, take that. Now they're on the verge of taking 2 lanes of Raxes, or at least forcing the buyback from the Templar Assassin, and this is the end game scenario. They kill Kaiser once here and the game is over. He is too much damage of HellRaisers for them to be able to fight 4 versus 5.
I think that this is another case of not having the proper like smoke initiations on the side of HellRaisers. It feels very reminiscent of game 1 where they needed like a specific way to start the fight in order for them to be successful. And a lot of the times when you see a Tidehunter lineup, you don't think that. You just say, okay, if the Rabbit is good, you're normally going to win. But the problem is all their heroes are so tanky, and Swift Ending is broke. He has no money. He's got a Book 3, a Diffusal Blade, and a Hyperstorm. It is 42 minutes into the game. The offlane Zeus on LFY has more money than him. So when you only have 1 damage dealer, and there's a Halberd and a Fate's Edict, you need a specific chain of initiation to win the fight. So basically, you need to kill DDC, like, immediately. That's the guy who needs to go down. Night Stalker is probably... Well, he's not too tanky, but he's certainly a lot more tanky. You could probably 2-shot DDC inside of a Ravage if you're Kaiser at this point. But if the fight drags out, and the BKBs were off, HellRaisers is at, like, a gigantic disadvantage. So they need to find a way to push out a lane or two, smoke, and find a really good either pick-off or get a fight to where they're not going through the frontline heroes first.
I remember that was the thing about TDC and his support play. He always knew how to play those supports without escape mechanisms and without a whole lot of tankiness in team fights. Like, he always knew how to position himself that he wasn't the one gone off. And that continues now with a very important defensive style hero in this Oracle. The saving mechanism is massive. And in this whole entire series, they haven't caught him once, have they?
I don't think so. Well, it might change now. There is actual vision this time, although they're going to bolt the high ground, so it's gone. Short-lived.
They do have one more.
Oh yeah, they have another one.
That's darkness. This darkness makes this ward look so awful.
Oh god.
It's not actually that bad, but darkness doesn't even get over to the stair area.
And there's a gem.
It's dead. So are the wolves. A basher is now up for Bristleback. That's got to feel pretty good, because now they're oftentimes just going to ignore you, but...
Yeah, you can hit him a few times. Once you get the Abyssal, or is it the full Abyssal? Or does he just have the... Yeah, it is. It's the full Abyssal.
Okay.
With that, he cannot be ignored pretty much.
Looking for the initiation. The Bat Rider, who's going to go on now. He's not going to find anything. They get the Rupture off of the Templar Assassin. They reveal all the heroes too. The Blink's not going to be there. They throw out the Ravage, but the BKB is already up there. Just go straight for Kaiser, and they've got him dead too. No refraction. He heals up with the Blood Rage. He may be able to survive through this one. He blinks back and heads for the Shrine. On the right-hand side, it looks like they force themselves away. Kaiser heals up in his fountain for full. LFY. They may have killed Swift Ending, but they haven't dealt with a real threat. They're also going to be able to kill J4 here. Kaiser has to do it again, but this time without a BKB and against all these disarms. Even if he did make that clutch survive, it doesn't look like it's going to matter one bit, as he just can't right-click anything. Dies inside the fountain, and LFY will take this series 2-0. Looking sharp here. LFY, the second place finisher in the Chinese qualifier. Roll over HellRaisers. 15-30 at 44 minutes.
Man.